All right, so this is going to be like my initial reaction to Batman. I won't say any spoilers. It'll just be kind of me talking about my overall thoughts of the movie based on what I can remember. I'm not going to edit it or anything. I'm just going to kind of go. So overall, I thought it was fine. It was fine to watch one time. It was 3 hours long, and it definitely felt like it, as opposed to maybe like Lord of the Rings or something where I feel like it's justified for it to be 3 hours long. This one felt like it could have been maybe 2 hours and 15 minutes if they had trimmed down a lot of the scenes. A lot of stuff just really dragged in each scene. And they're going for kind of a noir detective type thing, so I get that. But I think there's also something to be said for only keeping what you need for a movie. Overall, the actors all did a good job. But I don't know. I just didn't really connect with any of the characters. I'm still kind of trying to figure out why. Like Batman or Bruce Wayne or Robert Pattinson or whatever you want to call him, he's Batman for a majority of the time he's on screen. And he's in the majority of the movie. So he's Batman a lot, which I liked. But they made him kind of emo. So he's very dark and gloomy. And they also did a weird thing with Alfred where Alfred's not in it a ton. And their relationship is kind of, it seems a bit strained. So I don't know if you're supposed to assume that he has a good relationship with Alfred outside of this movie. Because they kind of do a thing where he's consumed by being Batman because he's early on as Batman, which I thought was cool. It was nice to see him be a little bit more violent, a little bit younger, and sort of subject to his anger and that sort of thing. But it was missing, I think maybe the lack of the Bruce Wayne stuff is kind of what you need to connect to the character. Or for him to have another side that's not just gloomy, brooding, serious Batman. I think that might be the main reason it's really hard to connect with. And everything in the movie is dark. So every character is dark. Every character is corrupt. There's not really a ton of people who are like just good people. Obviously, Gordon is Commissioner Gordon or whatever, Jim Gordon, whatever you want to call him. And he did a good job as the actor too, and he played the part well. But he's kind of just like he's only a cop. We don't really see another side of him either. And then Catwoman, we do see a little bit of her other aspects of her life outside of being Catwoman. But I don't know. It just something there just didn't hit for me. But like I said, it was fine to watch once. I'm not like mad that I went and saw it or anything. I don't know if I would watch it again. It's a long movie. And I think once was enough, honestly. The guy who plays the Riddler, Paul Dano, I believe is his name. He was in There Will Be Blood as the priest guy. He's a good actor too. But I didn't really like the way they did the Riddler. I felt like it was really hard to understand him a lot of the movie because he's sending in these tapes. And they kind of did like the voice distortion Bane thing where he's got like a mask on all the time. So what he's saying is like muffled. And then he's kind of like crazy on top of it. So he's yelling a lot. So I don't know. I didn't think it was a bad take on the Riddler. I think it might have been a little bit better if he had been toned down a little. Because there is some stuff in there where you get to see more of him. And it was just a bit over the top for me. It was too much, I thought. Yeah, I don't know. And I think if you're going to do a 3-hour movie where you're doing a lot of this build-up, that the payoff has to be worth it. And I just don't think it was. I actually felt like it was kind of anticlimactic. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think part of it too is maybe just I've got a little bit of superhero fatigue, and Batman in particular. I'm not that old, and I think we're on the 6th Batman in my life, something like that. And every time we're getting his origin, and I don't know. Like, the action I actually liked a lot of, especially in the opening scene when they show him doing sort of street level Batman stuff before you get into the main, Riddler stuff. When he hits people, it feels like really heavy, and the sounds they use and everything, which was cool. I like that. I like how physical it was and all of that. But then there was some action stuff that I was like, okay, well, Batman should be dead a couple times now. And, I know you want to push it because it's a movie and you can get away with some stuff that's not completely realistic to actual humans or whatever, but it was just way too much. And there was at least 2 times that I was like, oh, okay, so Batman's dead then. I mean, we can't, like, if he has bulletproof armor, that doesn't just negate physics. I mean, if you have bulletproof armor on and you fall from the top of a building, you're still going to die. Or, whatever. So yeah, the action was kind of hit and miss. The fist fighting stuff I liked. The bigger scale stuff, I kind of thought they went too far. And then also there was the scene in the trailer that I was hoping wouldn't be in the movie. I was hoping it was just trailer bait, where he's walking in the hall and the guys are all shooting him with machine guns. And, you can see the little bullets deflecting off of his, I guess, whatever magic material this is. And I don't like that choice because, well, one, you're essentially saying he never gets shot in the face, even though he's trying to close the distance and fight people hand to hand. He never gets hit in the face, right? Otherwise he's dead because it's a bullet. And then 2, it sort of negates like the stealth aspect of Batman, which I thought something that Batman Begins did really well, is he sneaks up on people, so he's not getting shot. And I think, if he gets shot here and there and he's kind of bruised up and whatever, I think you can deal with it. But when he can literally just walk into machine gun fire, it sort of makes it feel like there's no real risk of him actually dying. And then some of the stuff that he lives through in the movie compounds on that for me. So yeah, I don't want to go too long with this. The music was really good, which, at this point, I guess isn't too surprising that they can find good composers with these budgets, but still worth mentioning. I like the music a lot. I liked the dynamic between Batman and Catwoman. They're kind of up and down and back and forth, and she gives him a hard time and he gives her a hard time, and there's like a playfulness to it that I liked. I thought Zoe Kravitz did a good job. But in the plot, I don't know, it seemed fine when I saw it. If I think about it more, I'm probably going to wonder if it makes any sense. Like, the Riddler has access to a ton of information. And the direction they go with him at the end of the movie, it's not exactly clear how or why he has the information and resources that he does. There's also a little bit of cringe in there, but I don't want to spoil that part because I guess it's part of the movie that maybe people don't want spoiled for them. I think I'm always going to mention this last is the culture war type shit, because I just don't want that to be the focus. But for people who are interested in whatever, was this movie woke, or did it have diversity or whatever, if that's your thing. Outside of the race swapping of Catwoman and Jim Gordon and that sort of thing, there was only a couple things that I thought were like political. They mentioned white privilege, that type of shit, which is it was just unnecessary. And I don't know. As far as the race swapping, I just don't. I prefer that they don't do that, but it's not like a deal breaker for me about whether or not the movie's good. But I do feel bad for the people who are like super into the comics because I never read the comics, so I don't have that attachment in the way that, a comic book reader would. But, I've read books that have been turned into movies, and when they change stuff and tinker with it, there is something that I feel like is just missing, and I don't know. I feel like there's a bit of a lack of appreciation for the source material. And, the reason that these comics and books and manga and whatever get made into movies to begin with is because of the readers. So I feel like they could just have some respect for the source material and try to be faithful. But that's a whole other conversation. But yeah, I didn't think it was super political. Although, again, every villain in the movie was a white guy, which is becoming like the Hollywood thing right now. Just to give a little bit of context, obviously you had Jim Gordon and a couple other people who were like the only good people in the movie outside of Batman, I guess. But even Batman, I'm not sure if I would call him good. He's kind of a mixed bag. And Alfred, who wasn't in it nearly enough. But as far as that kind of stuff goes, it's one of those things that I just kind of sigh and I'm like, okay, Hollywood's doing their thing. And just, so you know what I'm referring to. It's like the Star Wars sequel trilogy. Everybody in the Empire is a white guy, and the protagonists are women and minorities and blah, blah, blah. And again, it's not like one of those things I really care about beyond the fact that I know it's deliberate. So it's just annoying more than anything. But, if you ignore that, because obviously the race swapping was known before you go see the movie, there's not really any overtly political stuff, I didn't think. So overall, it was fine. I don't really like to do numbers because that gets tricky if you rate enough movies, especially when you start getting into different genres and all that. So, it's worth watching once. I enjoyed the theater experience. You'll probably have fun if you go. I think a lot of the Batman comic book people were pretty happy that they embraced the detective stuff a lot more in this one. But, for me, it was a take it or leave it. And again, I could just be tired of superhero stuff. It's really hard to say. So yeah, that's about it. That's it.